All right, my friends, welcome. It's Ty Hicks, results coach and national influence and leadership trainer. This week, we're talking all about how to master money, how you can start to get control of this area of your life. And you might be thinking, why? Why are we talking about this? I do get this question sometimes. Some people say, well, Ty, money's not everything. Why does it always have to be about money? There seems to be a lot of pressure in our society now to make money and to create it. And by no means am I necessarily a materially oriented person, nor do I encourage people to do so. In fact, I think that if you do not feel fulfilled by the things that you're doing, by the things that you're creating and contributing to the world, then you're going to have a very tough time trying to fill yourself up with material goods. It's just not going to happen. And by the way, regardless of how much money you make, if you don't develop ways to feel inner peace and feel fulfilled and feel satisfied with your place in the universe, you're not going to be completely fulfilled as a human being. It's just not going to happen. So money is by no means everything. It's not even the main thing. It's not even close to being the main thing, but it is an important thing for us to talk about, because if you do not have your financial future secured, you're going to have a very tough time having a high emotional quality of life. Okay, that's what I've come to understand. The reason I talk about money, and I want to make sure people understand the basics of how to actually get on a path of financial security and ultimately financial freedom, is because it affects every area of our lives. And I've come to understand this with the clients that I've had. The clients who come to me who are worried about their relationships, who are worried about their depression or their anxiety or their career, very often an underlying component of what's causing them to feel stress is a lack of feeling secure about their finances. And by the way, there is so much bad information out there. There is so much convoluted advice about how to make things happen and how to make ends meet and how to get ahead, that I try to make it as simple as possible, and I try to make it as approachable as anybody could possibly see, so that they can understand that there's a real simple system. I mean, there are laws to success in anything that you do. There are laws to business. There's laws to relationships. There are certain things that if you do or do not do them in relationships, you are either going to pay the consequences or reap the rewards. Same in business and same in finances. There are just proven laws, frankly, of what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. And even though each person's path is going to be uniquely individual to them, there are specific things that you need to be applying yourself to. And these consequences are not going to just affect you. You deserve to take advantage of your finances, obviously for your own sake, but for your family's sake, for your kids' sake, if you have them, for the people that depend on you. Okay, so it's an important subject and we can't just brush over it. You deserve to know how to master your money, and I want to make sure that you have the resources to make that happen. So let's talk about some of the basic 4 simple steps that will help you get on the path. Now, there's a lot more to be said about this, and in fact, I have a whole Financial Freedom University Master's course to help people understand the key 7 steps and give them a concrete plan to get on the path to financial freedom. But these 4 steps I wanted to share with you because I think it gives a really helpful overview, and if you were to take action on these steps at least, you would really start to move the ball in the right direction. So let's talk about these 4 steps to start mastering your money. First of all, the thing I want you to understand is you have a current set of financial rituals, and those current financial rituals are producing for you a current set of financial results, okay? Just like if you go to McDonald's every day and you eat a Whopper, you're going to have a certain set of health results that are going to come out of that, right? That ritual is going to create results for your health. In the same way, you have a current set of financial rituals, and you may not be thinking about them very consciously, but those rituals are producing particular results for you. And if you stack enough results over time, you end up getting a destiny. And that's what I want you to understand is your current financial rituals are bringing you to a current financial destiny, whether it's a good one or a bad one. And so for you to firstly get an extra layer of awareness about your current financial rituals is the first big victory we can have here. So I want you to start looking at that and start getting curious about where it is that your financial rituals are taking you to, okay? That's number 1. So the first big step that we have to have, which plays right into what I was just saying, is we need to do a full audit of your financial habits. So here's the best way to do this. Now, what you need to do is you need to go to your bank statement. Probably you have an online bank. And so go and look at all your transactions from the past 30 days. And what you need to do is take pen and paper to this, or get an Excel sheet or whatever you need to do. And you need to map out how much money did you spend in specific areas. How much money did you spend on food? How much did you spend on entertainment? How much did you spend on, core essentials like utilities, rent, insurance, basic things like that? How much did you spend on other habits? Are you a smoker? Are you a drinker? What are you spending your money on? Subscription payments, right? You want to break that out into specific categories. And in fact, your bank actually might chop that up into little sections for you to be able to start to see. But there is such a power in going line by line, because what you want to do is you really want to get acclimated with how you're spending your money, because it's very easy, especially with debit and credit cards, to just swipe and not pay attention to where the money is going. It's very easy. And in fact, they've done studies on this, that you're more likely to spend more money if you use plastic than if you use cash. So because it's got an extra layer removed from the actual money, right? You're not thinking about it as consciously. So what I want you to do is go through the past 30 days and audit all your finances. How much money did you spend in each area, and pay attention to your financial rituals. Now, that's going to be very important, because you're then at the end of that going to see how much money you have to have in order to survive, in order to cover your real baseline expenses. But you're now going to start to see what rituals need audited, okay? Which things need to be turned around, and that's going to lead us into the next strategy. So what you need to do is, your second step is create specific budgets for your unique categories. Okay, so if you've got entertainment, for example, and you spent $200 on entertainment this past month, that might be an amount that you're a little uncomfortable with. So maybe you bring that budget down to $75. Well, what could you do with an extra $125 a month? Probably a good amount. You might also be eating out very frequently. When I first did this and I was getting in control of my finances, I recognized I was spending like $200 a month on buying lunches during the workday. That stopped immediately. Now I don't even do that ever. Maybe on a given month I'll have like 2 or 3 times I'll go out to lunch, or I'll pick up a meal, or go out with a friend or something like that. But now I meal prep and I make all of my lunches ahead of time, and I'm saving hundreds of dollars a month because I committed to that strategy a long time ago. And I'm healthier as a result as well. So there can be side benefits there as well. First of all, you might actually find when you audit your finances that you are paying for subscription payments that you don't even use anymore. This may be the very first time that you actually look at your bank statement in detail. So you'll find some very extraneous, unnecessary expenses that just need to go. And in fact, you should be doing this regularly to make sure that you're not falling victim to credit card fraud. Okay, excuse me. Okay, if somebody has made a expense on your account and you weren't aware of it, you need to make sure that you rectify those things. I personally have found those things on my credit card accounts before, where somehow somebody got my number, and thankfully I changed it, and I got refunds in the form of hundreds of dollars down the line. So that can be an important piece of this process too. But now the important part of this is to go out of just being reactionary to how we spend our money, and instead intentionally designing how we're going to spend our money so that it lines up with the goals that we want to have for ourselves. So now create real budgets for each area. I did this with a client once, and he realized he was spending $300 a month on drinks at the bar. Okay, and that was a huge revelation to him, because when you go out one night and you're spending $20, it doesn't seem so bad. But when you do that several nights a week, and then you do that over the course of a month, and you think about $300 becoming $3,600 over the course of a year, all of a sudden you realize that that could instead be going into your daughter's college savings account, right? So it can become a completely different experience as soon as you start to really get acquainted with the consequences of your current financial results. So now you're going to pick an intentionally designated budget for each one of these areas. That's number 2. Now it's time to establish new rules and standards. So you've created the budgets. Now it's time to adjust your financial rituals. So, for instance, if you're currently eating out to lunch 3 times a week, maybe you need to rein that in to once a week. Maybe you need to set a budget of $30 a week, and that's it. That's it max. Okay. And so that now becomes your new ritual in that area. Instead of going out to the bars 3 nights a week, maybe you go out once a week. Okay, now you're saving that amount of money and you premeditate what that's going to be and when it's going to happen. So now's the time for you to really get clear on what your new financial rituals will be. Figure out what the old stimuli were that were causing a particular financial ritual that was unfavorable to you, and now create a new set of rules. Okay, so if my friends invite me out to the bar, make sure that this is the only time of the week that I'm going to go out and do it, and make sure I make that decision, for example. That could be your new set of rules. But you've got to now intentionally design these things. Okay, now, once you've done this, you should actually be keeping a decent amount of money back in your pocket. Now, the question is going to be, what are you going to do with this money? Now, there's a whole lot more for us to talk about in terms of how to actually invest and how to make it go the farthest it could possibly go. But for now, what you need to understand is if you are not dedicating a portion of every dollar that you make to sacred investment accounts, then you are costing your future self financial freedom. You have got to make sure that you start getting your money to work for you. And you need to put your money in strategic places so that it is going to generate a high return on investment that you can reap the reward of down the line. Okay? A staggering majority of individuals do not have this mapped out. They do not have a portion of every dollar they make going to sacred investments. Very few people actually have a dedicated retirement plan figured out. Even less people know exactly how much money they would need to have in order to retire comfortably. And many people are delaying planning for their retirement by several years, which is causing an enormous cost to befall their future self. So this right here, if you actually did nothing else but just this, if you started to dedicate a sacred portion of every dollar you make, I recommend at least 10%, but do as much as you could possibly afford into investing for future use. That is going to be the most effective financial strategy you could possibly get out of this video. Okay, so make sure that you take action with that. Now, these 4 steps are not everything, but they're a great start. In our next video, I'm going to be sharing with you the real cost of not planning for your financial future. You might think it's something you can put off, but once you see the math I'm going to lay out for you in this next video, I think you're going to realize this is something that you have to master right now. It's not something that you can put off because it's going to cost you way too much down the line. So stay tuned for that video. It's going to be coming to you soon. I hope you found these 4 steps valuable. Now, please go take some action with them, okay? Do what was laid out here, and I promise you will start the process of getting on the path to financial freedom. So go out there, live intentionally, live purposefully, and contribute something amazing to the world. I'll talk to you again soon, my friend. Take care.